So let me start by sharing some of the things that I heard yesterday in my conversations and some of my impressions, and hopefully they will match yours as well. And I did bring a little notes for that because I also want to share some numbers and I don't want to get anything wrong. So we had about 30 breakout sessions yesterday, out of which 10 of those, so 1/3, delivered by our customers. So the customers that donated their time to share their experiences and their stories with us. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we have another 13, I think the number is, for today. We had 65 Genius Bar sessions yesterday. So the place where you go to have one-on-one conversations and see the products, watch a live demo. 65 sounds pretty good. If you haven't had, there's another 53 already pre-scheduled for today, but there are some open slots, so make sure you grab one of those. But the key number here is we had 322 wine glasses served last night. I'm making that one up. That one is just for fun. So the other thing that I noticed is how obviously data was at every single conversation, and how at the end of the day, it was always connecting data to an outcome, right? The conversation always started or finished at connect. Can't get this thing into my pocket. Not that hard. So always connected to an outcome. And either connected to an experience, and yesterday we talked about customer experiences, product experiences, or connected to growth, to more efficiency, to managing compliance, but always it ends up connecting to an outcome. That was something that, to me, was very evident. The other thing, which was probably really eye-opening, when we did Connect last year, 10 months ago, in Europe, obviously AI was a very hot topic, and it continues to be, but yesterday to me, I think I got clarity on the difference between a hot topic and a reality. The difference is the conversations have shifted so much in 10 months. When we did the event in Madrid, everybody was talking about AI very broadly. Like, we need to talk about this, let's talk about AI, because it needs to be part of the conversation. This year here, what I was hearing was very concrete use cases. So for example, I sat in a presentation from Office Max when Jeff, I don't know, Jeff, if you are in the room, and by the way, thank you so much for making the trip all the way from New Zealand to come and present your story here. He was showing how he's using trustworthy data coming from his master data management practice and feeding that into his AI models to increase purchases and the customer experience. So real use cases, and the conversations were about that. So clearly there's a big evolution there. But we wanted to, I started sharing some numbers. We wanted to put numbers on that evolution and see if that's actually a thing. So we did a research. We interviewed 500 business leaders here in the US from enterprise organizations to get their perspective in what's happening in their organizations around AI. And there are 5 big conclusions. Number one, obviously, as I just said, things are accelerating and they're moving really, really fast. Now, let's get into the numbers and some data points that tell us that. When we ask people, do you feel AI is your partner or do you feel AI is a competitor? 10% only said AI is my competitor. 10%. So people are seeing the value, which We also saw that AI is now being used. I talk about use cases. It's now being used across the business widely. So we saw the top use cases in areas like operations and supply chain. Product development was number 2. Marketing and marketing campaigns was number 3. But all over the business, strategic planning, finance, HR, use cases being implemented and having AI being used across the business, everywhere. The other interesting thing was the largest majority truly believes that the benefits of AI outweigh potential challenges. And then there are 2 big benefits that we saw. 87% stated that their companies are more innovative because of AI. 79% said that their companies are now able to make faster decisions because of AI. So people are seeing the value, they're realizing the value. But obviously, there's still other leaders that are in the journey. So about 1/4 of the people who were surveyed say that they're still a little afraid to use AI. When we think about what are the things that they are afraid of, the first thing that comes out of the survey is data privacy. There's a clear concern in the privacy aspects of managing data through AI models. The second thing that came up was ethical issues. That was very interesting. Then the third thing that came up, mentioned by 19% of the people who were interviewed, was potential brand reputation challenges. You saw that I did not mention job displacement because it was low in the list. That's another indication that when we talked about AI maybe 12 months ago, there was still that fear that Adrian talked about yesterday of, oh, this thing is gonna steal my job. It's no longer a concern. People have moved quickly into understanding the value, which is amazing how fast things are moving. But if you also look at those challenges, and we ask the question, how do you see your customers, so the people you serve, people or companies that you serve, how do you see their perception of your AI use? We also saw that the things we talked about before, data privacy, so business leaders feel that their customers are very concerned with their privacy in using data in AI. Security came up as well, and again, ethical issues came up as well. So, but there was something that was very eye-catching to me, particularly, when we asked that question. 1/3 of the people who were interviewed believe that their end customers don't have any concerns with their organizations using AI. Ask yourselves that question for a moment. How do you feel? How do you perceive your end customers seeing the way you are using AI? Because this will become something that will guide purchasing decisions and preferences for brands very, very soon. Now, we also asked for the other 2/3 who say they care about that and they see that they need to care about that. We asked, what are you doing? What are you doing to increase your customer trust in your use of AI? Top 4 things that came up. More transparency, providing more transparency in how you're using data. Second thing, training. So about their own people, the need to train internal people to use AI properly. The third thing, relevancy, showing that you're using data and using AI to create relevancy and more value, personalized experiences. Fourth thing, data quality. Putting quality assurance with human oversight on top of it. So 4 very different things that were mentioned: providing more transparency, training, relevancy, and quality assurance. Think about how are you using and approaching those things in your organizations as well. Now, the third finding, which is extremely connected to the fact that data privacy, ethical dilemmas are big, big topics, is this notion of responsible AI. Ask yourselves the following question. Do you feel, and this was the question that we asked people in the survey, do you feel that your company is using AI responsibly? This is the number we got back. Are you surprised? We were a little surprised. It's a pretty high number. That's the way people feel about how responsibly the organizations are using AI. But now let's dig a little deeper. So 80% of the people who were interviewed said they received enough training to use AI responsibly. That's good. That's a big number as well. At the same time, 86% said that they need more training, that they are not 100% prepared. Another data point, almost half of the people said that they are not prepared to use AI responsibly. So now you start to feel, well, if I feel that 94% of the companies are doing it responsibly, but at the same time, 50% of the people say they don't feel they are prepared, there's something there. And then finally, which is a very interesting one, 61% believe that AI adoption is going so fast that it's outpacing the development of ethical guidelines, which is something that more and more we're seeing based on this study that becomes a concern. Now, just for fun now, because numbers can be boring at times, just for fun now, one of the things we saw which was really interesting, when you separate IT leaders from non-IT, there are some very interesting differences in the data when we look at AI. So the first one, IT sees a much higher strategic value of AI being used in their organizations, and also a higher readiness. So when we ask the questions, do you believe that the benefits of AI outweigh potential challenges? There was a 14 percentage points difference between those two groups. IT believes it much more, that the benefits are greater than the potential challenges. The second thing we saw, which is probably expected, IT departments see wider use of AI in their organizations than the different LOBs. Why? Because they're probably more involved in most of those initiatives. Not all of them. We also saw something that we are taking the liberty to call some shadow AI going on. For example, when we asked how much is AI being used into accounting processes, IT said 13% of IT people said it's used in accounting, compared to 13, compared to 52 in finance. So the people who actually run it are seeing it a lot more than the IT folks. The third thing, IT is a lot more concerned with the risks of AI than LOBs. So again, when we asked, do you feel that the AI implementation was rushed in your organization? There was a 17 percentage point difference in the two answers between the two groups. When we asked, does AI keep you up at night? There was a 13-point difference with IT folks saying yes in comparison to non-IT. The last thing, IT has less trust in AI, more critical with the data they get from AI, with a 10 percentage points difference. In this case, negative, because it's less trust. So if you are in IT, you probably recognize yourself. If you're not, know the angles of your IT colleagues when talking about AI, the things that they care about, the things that they are concerned about, so that you can reach a common ground. Last finding, managing AI-generated data can't be neglected. So we also asked the question, and I'll do the same here with you. Do you feel your organization is managing AI-generated data properly? Simple yes or no. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what the number was. 75% believe, yes, my organization is managing AI-generated data properly. But then we started digging, right? When we see big numbers like this, then we prepare other questions to cross-check. When we ask people, so what are you doing? What are you actually doing to manage your AI-generated data? The responses that we got, well, all of them were below the 50% range, meaning not even half of the people who were interviewed said that they were actually doing those things. So even though they have this belief and perception that the majority, 2/3, that they are managing AI-generated data properly and effectively, when we start digging, it doesn't feel like so. So when we ask questions like, are you implementing new privacy rules or new security rules, new governance rules, new quality assurance rules, less than 40% indicated that they are. So there's still a lot of room there, and that's something that will become absolutely critical as more and more data will be generated directly from AI. So these are the things then that they said they wanted to do, which is very similar to other things that I mentioned in terms of what companies, organizations were doing in addressing the challenges. So training employees was number one, new security and privacy procedures, number two, data quality assurance, number three, and then new tools to integrate data was number four. People, processes, technology, three things in there. In summary, and by the way, you're all gonna get this report, the full report. It's not completed yet, but we wanted to bring the insights today here. Probably in about 10 days, you guys are gonna be getting an email with the ability to get the full report. So don't worry about not being able to get the details at this point. You'll get it. So, number one, more mature. Things have evolved. Job displacement, not a thing anymore. AI is my partner. Great. Number two, being used widely across the business. Number three, privacy, security, ethical dilemmas. They're big in people's minds. Responsible AI will be something we'll be talking about maybe probably when we are in this conference again, 12 months from now. That will be a topic, I'm sure, because things are evolving extremely fast.